Hi, my name is Sawyer Foss. I am applying for the graduate assistantship at the University of Pittsburgh as the athletic trainer for the cross country team. A little bit of background information from me. I'm from a small community based town south of Rockford, Illinois. In my town, there's probably more cows than people. Chickens are probably a close second. In our town, I was involved in mission trips, town celebrations, and the local fire department. My dad was a captain for about 15 years after 9/11, and then I joined when I was 16 as a cadet, and then I did 2 years as a cadet, and then following I did a year and a half as probationary firefighter. I decided to quit merely because I was in school. I couldn't go home for any training. It was more work for me to keep them on there for insurance purposes, so it was easier just for me to get off because I wasn't part of really anything anymore. Throughout high school, I was really involved in the band, choir, and the musical production. Fun fact, I was actually almost a music education major. While at Clark, however, I decided to not do that merely because I figured out I couldn't deal with 50, 60 high schoolers with musical instruments for an hour and a half. Just really wasn't my thing anymore. I was also involved with football, wrestling, track. I was a three sports student year round, always doing something active. Track was my best sport, but my favorite sport was wrestling. Still today, I love to watch it, love to be a part of it. In track, I threw shot, disc, and ran some short sprints. I actually tore my pec in track. It's a end of senior year. It's my first exposure to an athletic trainer. Our athletic trainer at school was part-time. He wasn't there that often, so basically I got for treatment was stim, ice, not enough to keep me going. I didn't get to finish the season like I would have. I still got to qualify for state. However, I didn't get to finish like I would have, or should have, I feel like. Coming to Clark, I got that scholarship offered my senior year, and I decided to go to Clark to throw shot and disc for Clark University track and field. On our first orientation, I followed a friend to the athletic training class. I came in as undeclared. I wasn't sure really what I wanted to do. I know I wanted to be a health profession. We went in. I met with Dr. Higgins, and ever since then, I fell in love with it. She talked about how we don't use textbooks. We don't have like daily homework that's just kind of more busy work. It's more we talk, we have discussions, it's hands-on learning, and that's what I love. So it was a perfect fit for me, and ever since then, I haven't looked back. I fell in love with emergency medicine, diagnosis, rehab, everything. Following two words I would use to describe myself would be positive and continuously learning. Positive, I would say, because during the outbreak of COVID-19, I dealt with a lot of stress issues. I couldn't balance my track life, personal life, school life. It all was a giant mess. And then when COVID broke out, having to come home, having to juggle talking to friends and keeping up with friends, making sure I wasn't missing their lives, having to stay with school, stay with physics, which is a handle. So because of that, I've learned to look on the positive things of life. Yes, it might be stressful, but I'm at home, I'm with my family, I'm safe, they're safe. That's what's important. And ever since then, that's what I've taken forward. So like a rainy day at practice, we had a really rainy day at practice that's on last Saturday. My thought was, at least it's not storming. At least we're not in the indoor field where it's super hot. We're out here. Yes, it's wet, but it could be a lot worse. That's what I would say one big thing about me was. Also, continuously learning. Since my sophomore year, I've been one to ask questions by my preceptors. Our sophomore year here in the program, we learn more diagnosis. We don't learn that much about rehab. So when I was at University of Dubuque for my wrestling rotation, I was always asking my preceptor, okay, well, he sprained his ankle. What would be the first thing we would do for treatment? And he would say, well, ice and stim. Well, why ice and stim? I was always asking questions. Since then, I've always taken it one step. I've tried to take it one step further, discussing things with my preceptors, even professors. One of my big research questions, one big project I wanted for my research was what was the effect of pulse ultrasound on labral injuries. There wasn't that much research on it, but that question came to mind because we were talking about different treatments we would use for connective tissue pathology in the shoulder a while back. I randomly brought that up. I thought it was super interesting when we talked about it in clinical, and I just couldn't find enough research to do my research project on it, but it's one big thing I do want to look into. I believe it's super interesting. And taking continuous learning throughout my whole life would be one big thing because I always want to become a better athletic trainer, and you have to do that by asking more questions, looking things up, learning all the time to become better at what we want to do. I believe I would be a great candidate for this position. I'm passionate about athletic training. I don't have that usual cliche story of I was hurt. I had a lot of experience with my athletic trainer or Contact with my athletic trainer, I really didn't have it. I saw him maybe 3 times. And so for me, I believe my passion came through learning about the major or learning about the profession, learning what it actually is. And I've loved it since the day one. Here at Clark, we have our PT-AT program. I'm not PT, I'm just strictly athletic training. I'm going out of my way to become better. I decided to take gross anatomy here at Clark. It's not required class, but it's optional for athletic training majors. And I want to take it because I believe it's going to make me better in the end when I graduate. Following, I want that experience at a D1 school. Our clinical rotations are NAI, D3, and some small high schools. We don't get that experience at a D1 school. We would get if we wanted to do the athletic training program in an undergrad situation at a D1 school. However, this would also put me possibly behind compared to other applicants. Yes, I haven't had that D1 experience, but I want that because I'm not going to get that anywhere else unless I apply for a graduate position. Also, I want to grow as an athletic trainer. Our professors coming through undergrad told us that they can only teach us about 10% of what we need to pass the BOC. After that, we have to learn more and more and more as we go out through our athletic training careers. So coming from that, if I'm going to a D1 school, I'm going to meet with preceptors who have more experience. It takes a little bit of work to become an athletic trainer at a D1 school, so they're going to have experience. I visited Western Illinois University, and that preceptor had experience with the Cincinnati Bengals, and I love hearing about her stories. So coming from going to other schools, I want to learn more about what other preceptors have encountered, what they've done differently, everything like that. Also, another obstacle would be staying away from home for a long time. If I were to go to Pittsburgh and live in Pittsburgh, it would be the farthest away I've been from home for an extended amount of time. I've been to Pittsburgh or Pennsylvania a few times for mission trips, but it would just be exciting to live there by myself, do my own thing, get out of the Midwest, get away from corn for more than a week, which would be amazing. But overall, I am really excited if I were to live in Pittsburgh. I love Pennsylvania. I've been there many times for a mission trip, and be able to experience it on a longer basis would be super helpful for me. Overall, I would be a great candidate for this position. I've had involvement with cross-country runners through my clinical experiences. My sister has been a cross-country runner all her life, so my best friends are cross-country runners. I would be a great candidate through my experience through clinical and just my passion for athletic training. I am part of our Clark Athletic Training Society. I was treasurer for a year and I was president for another year. My goal there was to make our meetings more purposeful. It wasn't just to come together for 5 minutes, discuss what's happening in athletic training, what's our new service project is going to be. My goal was to start discussions at our little meetings. So we would do Kahoot games. We would do clinical stories. Recently, we were talking about getting our freshmen together since they're behind in COVID and form little groups so then they won't be as behind in clinical experiences as they could be. I'm also involved in IATS, Iowa Athletic Training Society. In this, we got on conference calls and we met with other athletic training students and from other different programs all across Iowa, discuss what they were doing and what we were doing, and overall just comparing and maybe making our program even better. Overall, I'm just passionate about athletic training. I want to grow as an athletic trainer. I want to be the best athletic trainer that I can possibly be.